Hi.
So these are our microphones.
I feel like we're like starting like a podcast right now, and we're like,
I mean, is this foreshadowing?
is this honestly? We were just talking about how we just got out here. You're out here for your trip. I feel like we both were going through very similar seasons of feeling like not our best selves, I guess you would say.
My audience knows your girl was down bad. Like, I have several videos where I was like in espresso depresso mode, but I think in part of that, like, some of the biggest problem within that was that I wasn't really trying to help myself. I was like resenting, seeing my friends getting all these opportunities, but yet I'm like at home scrolling, like not really doing anything about it. And so now I'm like, I'm just gonna put myself in the way of these opportunities. Like, for me, this trip was super intentional to like go meet brands face to face, meet up with mutuals, like do something, have some fun, but not necessarily control the situation. Because like we talk about a lot how when you want to like manifest things, you also don't want to like control how it happens. Just be open to it.
Yeah, you have to be. I feel like if you have an intention and you know what you want, sometimes you have to put that intention out there or say, okay, like this is kind of the general idea of how I want my life to go. And then you have to allow the universe to kind of come in and give you those things. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like when I'm trying to control things too much, I end up resisting things even more. And I think that sometimes, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but sometimes when I do find myself in periods where I feel down or like sad, it's because I'm trying to like control too much. I'm trying to do too many things.
I feel like that is like literally the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, trying to like force you to move out of your own way.
Yeah.
When you're like trying so hard to force it and there's that resistance and you're like, I'm working so hard, I'm trying everything. Like when I was really down bad, I was burnt out and I was still getting up, working so hard. And
yeah, because like you don't want to stop.
Yeah.
You don't want to quit.
It's like nothing was working and I'm like, what is it? Like, I'm a hard worker, but it's not about hard work. That's
not.
A little tiny piece of it, but you don't have to like struggle to get to where you want to get to. You just need to like take what's called inspired action, the little baby steps on the way.
One thing that I saw recently that I really identified with is the fact that it's more about alignment than it is about action. Like it's less about speed, it's less about doing the things and checking things off your list, and it's more about actually aligning to who you want to be and the version of yourself that you know that you can be. So sometimes it's not just about like hustling, because I think we're very conditioned in like the society to think that we have to work super hard to get what we want. And so it's like we hustle, and then we burn ourselves out, and then we're like, why am I so burnt out? But it's like, no wonder, because this is not how we're meant to live.
Not at all. Like, we're not meant to be feeling like we're constantly drained and exhausted. In fact, I feel like you should be watching energetically how you feel to know when you're going in the right direction or not. Like, you should feel energized by what you do.
Yeah.
And if you're not feeling that, take a moment to like question it. Because like coming here, I've been like on such a high because I'm like, meeting up with people who I feel like vibe with me. We're doing the same thing. We're like inspiring each other, creating content. Like I'm in my element.
You can feel it. Yeah.
And it's so nice because it's like, I know this trip was like, it was so perfectly planned and I didn't even have to really go out of my way to plan it. Like you just ended up being here. Like everyone I've seen just ended up like reaching out to me. Didn't even know I planned the trip.
That's amazing.
Like that's exactly what I feel like you have to go for. It's just like the flow of it all.
It's literally about flow, because once you like start stepping in the directions that you want, it's like the things that you want will just start coming to you. It's like not so much about. And I think especially with relationships, it's not just about like forcing things, because I think for me, at least at this point in my life, I'm starting to learn how important relationships are. And sometimes with certain people, it's like, when the vibe is not there, when things are not aligned. And so with anything, with yourself, with your career, with money, but also with your relationships with people, it's like those things can't be forced. It's like it has to kind of come naturally, and when that energy is right. Like, it does.
It has to come naturally, and I think we have to like be honest when we're like pushing something with our ego.
That's so true.
And when we're doing something because it really is in alignment. I've even caught myself sometimes being like, I just want to do this just to like prove this.
I do the same thing.
And it's like, who the fuck cares? Like, why do I need that? I don't need to be right in anybody's eyes. I don't need to force anything. I don't need somebody to like me. Like, that's not why I'm here.
Sometimes I'll post certain TikToks or videos and I'm like, I don't know, like there's just, I think especially in our industry, there's sometimes you see so many other people doing things and it can be so easy to feel like, oh, I need to be doing literally what everybody else is doing, but it's like, no, like you know in your body when it's not you. Yeah.
Online, because you'll see, well, she's doing this and it's going viral, like that's what people like, and you convince yourself of one narrative and then we give up on ourselves and like our own authenticity.
Yes.
Like I've done it so many times, and this is the year of me like really trying to strip myself of that, because like I'm about to be a big old 30-year-old. So
are you gonna be this year?
Yeah.
What? I don't know why I thought you were like closer to my age for some reason.
Everyone thinks I'm like 12 years old. It's because I literally have Gen Z siblings.
Okay, maybe that makes sense. Yeah.
Like,
but you're mature also at the same time, so it's like you have the mix.
It is weird, right? It's like I do feel much younger than I am. Like, I say 30, I'm coming up on 30, and I'm like,
whoa. I feel like also a huge thing that I've been noticing for myself is that age plays this huge role in this like sense of pressure that we feel. Like people want to be super successful at like 22 years old, and they judge and compare themselves when they're not, and then it's like 25 and then 30 and then 35. It's like all these different things add all this pressure, and it's like, why do we do that? Like
I think that's all like a part of the scam though, like it's, of the society we live in. Because like I remember when I first started content creation, I was so like I was crazy, like really.
When did you start? How old were you?
25.
Okay.
I think 24 maybe.
Yeah.
No, maybe it was before that. I don't know. I've been doing this for a minute.
I've been doing this for a long time.
I've been in the game, baby. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that goes away. You really have to like watch it though, because it can be so unhealthy.
It can.
You know,
it can.
And it's like there's nothing wrong with success and wanting to go for things, but like you have to know, like, is this like healthy at this point, or is this hurting me? So I do feel like as I've gotten older, it's kind of changed in a sense where I'm not validated by those things anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that was like what was happening before, is I was validated by like success. But you have to understand that like with or without the success, you're still like so worthy, and like you already are that version of yourself. When you get to the milestones, like when I was like 25 probably, I was like, oh my God, if I ever had like, you know, this amount of money, I would be so happy. And then it happens.
Yes, and then it happens and you're like, oh.
Did it make you happy?
Yeah.
No. Did it change
What's next?
Did it change your life? Maybe, in a sense, but like you realize that materialistic things do not heal you. You need to do the work. You need to actually like change.
No, you do.
And become secure with yourself with nothing.
No, literally, because I think that's why so many people suffer, is because you get the things that you want, and then you literally want the next thing immediately, or it's like you realize, like you said, you don't feel fulfilled from the things.
Like you're just bored.
Yeah.
You're like, on to the next, cool, like this happened. You don't really like take it in and celebrate it. You just like move on to the next thing.
And it's just because we're conditioned to do this. Like we literally are conditioned to believe, especially when you're at a place where you don't have as much at a certain point in your life. It's like, of course you're going to believe, oh, once I'm here, I'm going to be happier. Once I hit this much money in my bank account or whatever, I'm going to be happy. And those things can definitely award you comfortability and like freedom, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like everything that's external, everything that's outside of you never is going to bring you complete validation. And I have a theory that like at some point all of these things will eventually stop bringing you some sense of validation as like, you know, as the journey goes
even
on.
if they do at first.
Yeah. Relationships, your job, anything. There's going to be moments when they don't give you that same sense of validation, and when that happens, that's when you're confronted with like, oh, I have to find this happiness within.
Yeah, you have to find it within and become comfortable with yourself. Also, I think the milestones actually bring the issues to the surface. Like when I got my car, oh my God, I had the worst like month. I didn't drive it.
Really?
I was so like, talked to my financial advisor. You can get the car, Bria. We have more than enough in savings. AJ's like, Bria, it's okay. You know, everyone's giving me the green light, and I'm like, no, like.
There's still that anxiety.
I don't know, like, if we can do it, you know, and I get the car, and then I'm, like, happy the first couple days, and then I freaked out, like, internally, like, I don't know if this was a good idea, like,
oh my God,
buyer's remorse, kind of, even though, like, I loved the car, so it was my dream car.
Yeah, your car is so cute. I love it.
I love it so much, but like for a month I didn't drive it.
I get it
just,
though.
Like sat in the garage, and I would park on like the lowest level so nobody would like ding it with their doors. Finally, I like now it feels like my car. Like I do all my TikToks in my car, and like people were asking me like, why do you do so much like car content? Like one is because I needed to like enjoy my car. Two was because I was like depressed in my bed for so many months that I was like, I'm forcing myself to like make content outside of the house just for like my mental health. Yeah, so like people don't really know that. I've just now started to talk about like why I do it in the Bronco.
Yeah, because it's actually getting you out of the house.
Yeah, and that goes back to like, you know, the inspired action of like trying to get in the way of the universal blessings. Like it's not going to happen to me while I'm napping.
Yeah.
You know, like at some point we have to be a little like delusion's okay.
Yeah,
we love a little delulu moment,
but there has to be
like a little bit of effort.
Just
a little effort on my end.
There has to be like the first steps that you take a little bit, and I honestly think it's because our subconscious brain sometimes believes things, and in order for us to change that subconscious thought, we can do so much inner work, we can do so much journaling and all the meditation, all that stuff, but we actually have to like take the steps and do the action to show our subconscious mind like, no, I'm serious. Like, yeah, you have to prove it to yourself. That's so true. I'm glad you said that. I'm doing like this 90-day thing before my 30th where I'm like trying to get in the best shape, you know, walking I've been seeing your walking pad. Yeah, I love it.
Walking pad girly, like we're just getting healthy and in our glowy girl era. And like part of it was just like every day I would show up for the next 90 days. And it's so funny how like after the first 30, you almost forget who you were before, you know, because you've now like created an entirely different routine of like I get up every day, do the walking pad, this is what I have for breakfast. Just those two little decisions have like catapulted me into like such a healthy lifestyle, which now has affected my mindset, which now makes me feel confident in myself. Therefore I'm like wanting to show up, so it's like this domino effect just based off of showing up for myself in two little ways. Wow. And then every other place you want to show up too. Yeah. And it's just what you said, it's proving to myself, because I'd been down bad for like months that I was like, I've never been in a place where I didn't trust myself. That was scary. Because I have to bet on me. Like I am my person. Especially when you're working for yourself. Like you have to. So that really scared me and made me feel like maybe I don't have it, you know? And I'm like, this just doesn't feel like me. It doesn't sound like me. Like I don't even recognize the person I am anymore. And I was just kind of in my own little bubble about it, not talking to anyone. Yep, I feel that. I've been there. It's so dark, right? Yep, yeah. So like, what do you do to kind of get yourself out of those moments? Okay, that's the thing for me, and I was just talking to you about this. I was just in that place, and I think it was for me coming back to America because I was away for so long, and I was like traveling, and it felt like I was like free. I was like, wow, like, oh, you know, and then you come back and you're kind of like back in this like matrix in a way. And at the end of the day, I'm participating in the matrix. Like I do YouTube, and I like it. Like I like making videos, but at the same time, I want to be outside of it. So it's this weird thing of like, you on that. Like, we toe the line. And the way I look at it is we were like trying to manipulate the matrix by being in it. It's a game and you're playing it. Yeah, exactly. And it's like I've been having to learn this is like you get to make the rules of your own game, but sometimes it can be so overwhelming. And so the first few weeks, I would say, of me coming back to America, I was just feeling so depressed. And same thing, like it was really hard for me to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. Really? So for me, leaving the house, it was like a whole thing. Like I hate that. I would be so proud of myself for like getting that one thing done, which is like, to me, you know, me a few months ago, it's like that's just a normal for me. Going to the gym is like my really big thing. Like I love it. It's like my therapy. But when I'm having moments where like I just don't want to go, and like even that feels hard to me, that's how I know I'm in a bad place. And so I kind of forgot what you had asked. No, but how do you get yourself out of it? How do I get myself out of it is what I realized is the same thing that you were saying, is sometimes you just have to take the action. Like you have to just start doing the things. Forcing yourself to do it. But consistently and like doing it from also like a loving place versus like you have to do it or else you're gonna fail. It's like, no, you have to do it because you get to like we have this life that we're here
on. And it's like at the end of the day, like I know that I want to have fun, I want to enjoy this life, and so it's like in order for me to do that, I have to sometimes get out of my own way and get out of my head and just start doing it, even if I don't feel like it in the moment. And then usually once I start doing the thing and like making the action, it ends up actually fulfilling me.
It's about like consistently showing up, and because like when you, it's like people with I feel like it's most prevalent sometimes, like weight loss journeys, people that yo-yo diet, they can lose the weight, they know that they can lose the weight, but it's like a vicious cycle, and what brings them back to that other weight is self-sabotage, these habits that they can't quite break yet because of deeper reasons, like maybe it's emotional eating or maybe it's like binging. I feel like those kind of habits are just like a great example of how even when we know how to do right, we pull ourselves back. It's like I was self-sabotaging myself, like even in the midst of when I was like bedridden and trying to get up out of bed, I would like do one good thing maybe for like 2 days and then intentionally be like, I'm gonna sleep in, you know? But it was like, why, Bria? Like, you're obviously frustrated, you're obviously upset, why are you doing this to yourself? And it was going back to like, I'm not ready to like level up. I'm not ready for the next thing. I'm scared of what's on the other side.
It's fear,
because I've hit a wall in my career where the next thing, I don't know what it looks like.
Yes. Oh my God, I felt that. Yeah.
So I'm scared of that, and therefore I'm like, I could stay here in comfort, but also be unfulfilled.
It doesn't feel good.
And be unfulfilled, or I can take a step into the unknown, which is scary as fuck. And so what do I do instead? Create excuses subconsciously. And
that's what I've learned for myself, is that feeling of like just staying comfortable is actually more uncomfortable for me than it is to try, because it's, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like I get more scared thinking about like a life. I think I've heard people say this before, so maybe this is like something I've heard, but like the idea of a life unfulfilled, or like me not going after something and at least trying, scares me so much more than the idea of like, just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I have my moments where it's like, oh, I'm comfortable. Like, I don't know what's next. It seems like it's going to be really hard for me to get to the next stage. But then I'm like, okay, I have to try. Like, there's just something in me that it's just like, no, I have to do it. And I think that we all have that in us in some way.
Because we're either going to stand in our own way about it, or you can be like how I was when I first started my career. I was like, I would rather fail tremendously and know that like I gave it a shot rather than be on my deathbed like, oh, I wish I went.
Exactly.
I always have to like, and that's so dark and like gory, but I literally picture myself in my last moments sometimes being like, am I at least happy with like what I did? And can I say that I tried? Like, I want to be able to say that, like, when I'm like on my last few days. I don't care what that means, because I'm pretty sure even if I don't succeed in every single thing, that I probably had fun trying.
Exactly. And that's
the point.
That's the whole point of this whole game, is to just like do it and have fun. And if you fail, then ride the wave of that failure. If you have a hard time and it's, you know, we're all gonna have periods where it's like up and down. It's like just learning to ride the waves of it and being present in it, and then picking yourself up.
That's really what it's all about. I think we have every excuse to not be present these days. Like, one, our phone, social media always has us living like either in the future, or we're ruminating on the past, or what we coulda, shoulda, woulda done. You know, we really have to just like live in the moment and follow the fun. And that's what one thing on my channel I've been trying to push is like, just having people understand that an indicator of that you are doing something good is, are you having fun? Having fun, one, it keeps you on a high vibration of energy, period. So when you are on that level, like, you're gonna attract good things because like your vibe is high.
Like, literally.
When I get creatively stuck, I'll go to the arcade.
I love that.
Yeah, like we started going to this one place in Dallas, and I would take my brother and sister. And when I tell you, I was in there sweating like a kid at recess.
It's like your inner child, like you're just like playing.
Like, you know, like when you come in from recess and you're like drinking the water, like we had so much fun, and like afterwards I felt like this release, and like I felt so light. And I'm like, oh my God, why do I take my content so serious?
That's
like,
the thing.
Let me just go to the arcade and like bullshit for a minute. and just have some fun.
That's
like, whatever that means for you.
Whatever that means for you. I think that we just all need those reminders sometimes that like life is literally not that serious. And again, like because you get to design your own life, it's like, why not make it fun? Like, why make it hard?
No one's gonna make it out alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, what are we doing? Why do we care what other people think of us so much? Like, preaching to myself, I get so caught up, like, oh, I shouldn't post this, or I should post this.
I do the same.
Who the fuck cares?
Who cares? At the end of the day, that's honestly when I really start to feel better about life, is realizing like it's literally never that serious. And even with my content, like when I'm at a place where I'm like just posting and not even thinking about it, like that's when I know I'm like feeling like myself and like the most authentic version of myself, because like that's all I can be. Like that's literally all I'm here to do.
We literally need to text each other when we're like in that mode of not posting.
Yeah, we should.
If you literally start thinking that, text me. Because
same.
In 2024, at least, we need to stop doing that.
No, we
like,
do.
Let's just unapologetically post.
Yes.
It's so hard because it's like, for me, it's a numbers thing. Like,
it's a number.
I always get
I'm the same way.
Really paranoid about like the numbers. I literally went to TikTok headquarters yesterday where they told me it's not up to me.
Really?
Yes. They're like, you can't control the algorithm.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that your content isn't good. Like, they were talking about some of the creators who are now, like, super viral. I'm not going to name names. But they were like, yeah, this person at one point, her videos were not hitting for, like, 2 years.
Wow.
And now she's, like, one of the biggest creators on the app.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I saw this, like, a long time ago, and this was, like, such a huge thing that someone said for me in my content journey, was that like the difference between a really good creator and one who like ends up just quitting is someone who, it's not about the views, it's not about like even the quality, it's about someone who keeps posting even when views are low.
Yes.
Like just keeps going. And I'm like, it's so true. Like I remember
really
seeing that when I was like at like 10K or something, and I just I would post because it was just so much fun. And it was like no pressure, like I just wanted to do it. And it's like that's when things really started to pop off. So
no, I feel that, and I have to remind myself of that too, because like especially with I don't know why it was easier for me to do that on YouTube. I don't know why.
Same, yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I was more okay with like not having as many, because people aren't mean on YouTube.
YouTube just feels more organic too, and just like authentic. I don't know,
people aren't looking to really hate like they are, I feel like, on TikTok.
So
like I think that's what's kind of made me afraid to post on TikTok, like just to have fun, because people are such haters. Like, I'm just out here vibing and living. Like,
I know.
Why are you mad?
Like, it's like, what's happening here? Like, it can be very like toxic sometimes. I'm like, what are we even? It'll be like random videos that you don't even expect people to be upset about, and
right?
it's like,
like, you guys are really digging and reaching.
I know.
But now I feel like I see that energy on Reels too sometimes.
Oh,
like,
really?
I don't know what it's about short form. People just love
short form
to yell and scream on the internet. But yeah, I love YouTube. I love you guys. And I feel like place. I need to bring that energy elsewhere, because obviously, like, we just need to do what we love. And that goes for you guys too. Like, you need to not let other people get in the way, because like it can be online for like us, but also it can be in real life where people are like clowning on you. Like, there were definitely, like, I had girls from my high school that were not the nicest, and it's just like weird energy, and it's like, you know, more motivation for me at the end of the day to be like, I'm gonna definitely continue to do
living my life.
Yeah.
Because look at where you are literally now. It's like
And now that I look back on it, I feel like truly the girls that were the meanest to me knew I had a light before I even did.
And
they wanted me to never find out.
Well, I also think that, and this is just my opinion, I feel like some people are just very comfortable with like not fitting in, but I guess like fitting in and doing what's comfortable, and then when they see someone who's like a little bit different or unique or thinks differently, it makes people very uncomfortable who are stuck in that way of
doing that.
But I think it really is rooted in people being so scared of like they're scared, so then when you're not scared or you're not living in fear, it's like, what do you like? It's weird.
Everything's a projection.
It literally is.
When people say mean things to you, they're saying it to themselves. They're not saying it to you. You just happen to be like the punching bag.
No, exactly. And you might just be triggering it also. It might, like, seeing your light sometimes for some people may trigger like anger.
Triggers people who haven't yet accepted that they have one too, and that they can be doing the same thing. And so instead they're mad that you're using your superpower because you need to be stuck with them.
Exactly.
You know? yeah, everything is a projection, and we all need to just like catch ourselves in those moments, because like I've been guilty of it.
Yeah.
Everyone's been guilty of it at some time, being like a low vibe person when really you are just not addressing something within yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like you notice it. And then it goes back to kind of what we were saying, is like sometimes when you're doing that and you're comparing yourself and then you're like looking, honestly, I noticed for myself, I was just thinking this the other day, when I'm like more caught up in other people's business, I know it's because I'm not putting in as much effort or thought into my own life. And that's always a sign. Yes, I'm like, girl, I'm like, if I find myself scrolling and comparing, because I do the same thing with the numbers too sometimes, I'm like, it's literally because I'm not putting in enough effort or energy into my own life.
Like, I'm bored if I'm doing
bored, yeah. And even in relationships, like with dating, like I have learned this for myself, like when I'm too caught up even like on a guy or like other people, friends, like when I'm upset, like, you know, upset if friends are doing something or whatever, I know it's literally because I'm not pouring into myself enough. It's like always a sign.
So true. I never thought of it like that. But yeah, that's so true, because like I've been on such a high since I've been here. I've had no time to scroll. I've only had time to like post. Like before bed I might have like 30 minutes to scroll, but it's just like airhead content. I don't have time to go down that hole of like why am I not this or that, and then I go to sleep. But yeah, this entire time I'm like booked and busy. Like I'm gonna see this person, that person. I'm just having so much fun. I don't even have time to be here. You don't have time. You don't. No, and that's been me like the past like 3 days. I'm like, yes. But I'm noticing it. I'm like, wow, the difference it makes, because I like literally last week I had a day where I didn't do anything and I was just scrolling. And I'm like, girl, okay, one day of it, that's fine. But we're not doing this all week. We can't. It's so addicting. Like
it is addicting.
It is the new cocaine. Like they know how to keep you addicted to scrolling. Like, I mean, I will just like take out my phone for no reason. Like, why did I just take out my phone? Why am I even scrolling right now? Like, you have that thought process of like, why am I doing
And then sometimes you still do it. Like, that's what I do sometimes. I'm like, girl, do you ever get like those, okay, this is how I know it's bad, is when I get that one girl on TikTok that's like, are you scrolling instead of, I'm like, and I'll be like, yeah, and I scroll past it so fast.
Don't shame me right now.
I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
but
I have this app now called Opal.
Okay.
And you can like block apps from your phone during certain
time
frames.
That's what I need.
Like, love it. You do have to pay for it, but it's so worth it, because you're not going to melt your brain anymore. Unless you're like a crackhead, which I have been a little bit, and I literally will delete the Opal app. I have an app where it tells me like I'm locked out. Yep. But then you like, I've gotten so used to sometimes just clicking out of the thing. And I'm like, no, okay. Like, I don't even think about it sometimes. So I'm like, you can set the difficulty level.
Oh, that's good.
On Opal. So if you want to be able to take breaks, you can do like normal. But if you're like, no, I'm going all in, I don't want to take a break, you cannot break. Wow. You can't get out of it. So like there have been times
jail time.
But I literally like delete this fucking app.
I am dead. You're like, I'm not doing it. That's so crazy that we have gotten to this point as human beings. I'm like, no. My friend, my best friend back at home, she put me onto this movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it has Emma Roberts and Dave Franco in it, and it's basically about like the whole concept of the movie is, are you a watcher or are you a gamer or something like that? Are you a watcher, are you a doer? And I feel like sometimes I have to come back to that in life, is like sometimes it feels so comfortable just to consume and watch other people's lives, but like most of us at the end of the day, we're doing that because we want to be doing more. Like if you find yourself over scrolling, if you find yourself again too caught up in other people's lives, it's because but it's like something in you wants more, and it's like you have to love yourself enough to give yourself the opportunity to go after those things versus being stuck in like that watcher mode. And I have to remind myself that sometimes. That's the biggest thing.
Don't be a watcher, be a doer. Look at us, we're out here in LA
living Texas life girls. In the sun.
Texas girls just yeehawing. Just yeehawing
with my boots. I came with this like Texas ass outfit on too. I love it.
She's giving, I just moved here. Yeah, I love it.
Straight from the south.
Where is this from anyway?
It's Revolve actually.
Cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
Thank you. But no, I love this. I feel like this was very much like a therapy session that I kind of needed. I was telling the vlog on the way here. I was vlogging before this, and I was saying, like, I feel like sometimes when I talk to you, I get so much, like, clarity because you have such a grounding and, like, logical and, like I was saying before, like, big sister presence that I'm like, wow, like, okay, this all makes sense.
We, like, voice note each other all the time and just, like, talk about things, and I feel like in our voice notes we always like
we're like helping each other
to
like
these like conclusions, like, oh, that's so true, so helpful, like, Yeah, it's nice because
It's nice.
she also has like the big sister energy. Like that's why we thought this would be great because we both have like very similar content and audiences.
And just like viewpoints on everything.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did this. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys have an amazing week.
Yes.
And I will see you guys in the next one. I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. As you guys know, Squarespace is the one-stop shop for building an online presence. I use them myself for my website and I absolutely love them. They have flexible website templates, online store features that make it super easy to sell physical or digital products. And they even have analytics features that help you see where your site visitors and your sales are coming from. So you guys can head to squarespace.com for your free trial with them. And once you're ready to launch, use my link in the description box for 10% off your first purchase.